Hello everyone and welcome to this look at Robocraft. Robocraft is a free game on Steam that you can pick up now. It's also in early access, so there are constant updates coming out from this game, and I thought I'd just show you a little bit of it. So let's get started. So Robocraft, as they say on their store page, is a mixture between Minecraft and World of Tanks, and it really is. I mean, you place blocks down like this in the build section, and then you go out to fight with tanks on the battlefield. So I'm just going to show you a quick little tank that I'm going to build, and then we'll test it on the planet down there. So let's start by getting some shapes and blocks. Now I should probably explain how this works. You have an inventory, so you have a limited amount of blocks, and then you can go to the shop to buy more blocks. Now this being a free game, it obviously contains microtransactions in the form of GC, but it's actually quite a fast moving game in the sense that you get the non-premium currency quite quickly, which is rather useful. So you can get all these items, and you can also get different levels of items, as you can see here, and those are all found in the tech tree. And in the tech tree you have different tiers of tech points. Now this may sound very complicated, but obviously as soon as you get into it, it's not. There are only a few different parts, but there are many different levels of them, and the different levels obviously have increased durability and more powerful effects. So let's just build a quick robot here using these light chassis blocks. Now I'm just going to build a base for the seat, which is a requirement, and build a little casing around it. Now different blocks obviously have different stats. Specifically these blocks are very light, so they don't weigh much at all, and this is obviously a downside, meaning that they're rather weak, but they're also not very expensive. In fact, they are completely free. You can go to the shop and buy them completely free of charge, which is a sort of stopper in case you ever get stuck. If you run out of money and have no bots to fight with, therefore can't get any more money, it allows you to buy blocks so that you can continue. So we've got this little box here containing our pilot seat, and I'll just build out a bit and get some wheels on this. So there is no symmetry system, which is makes it somewhat harder, but that's not really a problem. We're just going to build out some wheels, and for this we will need some wheels, and actually we're going to need steering wheels, and I don't have any, but since they are free, all I have to do is get 4 of them from there, buy them, and now I have 4 steering wheels. So there's a difference between steering wheels and normal wheels. These ones require CPU. Now CPU is just a limitation of how massive your ships can be, because without a limitation you could just create sprawling things that filled the entire room from the get-go, which is a bit too much. So they've obviously limited it in that way. So there's a limit to how many blocks and how big your designs can be, but normally you don't really reach that limit very quickly. So let's just create a little base for where our weapons are going to sit. And obviously there's also different levels of weapons. So if I get one here, SMG maybe is the standard one, then we can see how these are set up. Now I think I've got a, yeah, Let's move this one forward. And put 2 more guns there. There we go. So now we've got a little gun truck. And I think we should go test it. So you can test in a practice mode, but we're going to battle online and play against other players and see who's got the better bot. So similar to World of Tanks, you start out in this loading setup where players are joining with a timer. And as you can see, my guns are already following my mouse, and they will do this. And now that we start the game, I can drive with the arrow with the WASD keys, and it sort of molds itself around how you build it. So you can build this with 8 wheels and have them somewhat. You can make it so that the car works to drive upside down. I mean, you could do anything really with this creative design. As oh dear, well, this went well, didn't it? We are stuck. Now this can happen, and this is probably one of the downsides, but normally only really happens with these cars, and there is a workaround when designing your ships to fix this. So I am completely stuck. There's the gun firing. I can't move. So I think, well, we're being blown up by that guy. Let's see if we can kill him from upside down. My guns aren't firing it. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Sir? I don't think this is going to work. He has landed on me. I think we're going to have to quit. We are rather stuck. Okay. Let's self-destruct. So that was the first taste of battle. That happens quite often if you're going for the ground design of ship like this. But there is a way to fix it. So if we get rid of the wheels, we can instead build up a bit, and we can actually entirely get rid of this part. And then what we can do now is build a hovercraft. So a hovercraft in this game works a bit strangely. It has a pretty good physics engine, but it's not perfect, and it does mean that you end up in some awkward situations sometimes. But most importantly, you do have to balance everything you build. So here I have built hover blades, and I think I'm going to add 2 more, so 4 more on each side, so we get these hover blades out. And these are level 2 ones, they'll be more powerful, and these are level 1. They're slightly less powerful, but they also take less CPU and way less. So, that's good. So, we can just connect this at the top. And obviously, as you saw, if you get shot in a particular part and you lose a block, and if you have sections of your ship which are not in any way attached to the pilot seat, they will just disintegrate. So it's often good to have sort of reinforcing beams to try and stop that from happening. So now this thing, I don't know what to call it, should be able to fly. So let's test this. And we shouldn't get into the problem which we had last time, which was crashing. Let's see how we do. So while playing this, you'll see a lot of people with lots of different designs, and they all look different and act differently, and it's really cool to be able to just have your imagination build whatever you want. And I think that's probably the appeal of this game, and many other games like it. So, as the game starts, we'll notice that we float, and this seems to be a working design, unlike many of my others. And we will, oh dear, look at that, it doesn't like to turn. But with the guns on the front and the hover blades keeping us aloft, we are slightly more nimble, and we can take obstacles slightly better than, say, a car would. Now, with hover blades, you are limited to height, right? So if you go over slightly higher terrain, you will hover higher over it, but you can't go any higher than this. And if I drop from there, I will fall down terrain. So this is a limitation of the hovercraft, but it does mean you're very mobile. So let's try and take this guy out. Oh dear. Now this is the disadvantage of having such light blocks. You die very quickly. So this person in his little car was capable of taking down my supremely awesome hovercraft. And now, in true World of Tanks style, you don't respawn and you can just look at the other people as they're playing. But we don't have time for that, so let's just go back to the garage. So in the garage, I think we'll make some changes to this. Quite a few changes. Now this is another great thing about this game. You can just cut all parts of your ship away and rebuild the entire thing from scratch. But I didn't feel like doing that today. And I have a pre-made design that I will show you right now. So you have different garages where you can store different bots that you've built. And here I am to show you the last design of robot that you could build. And you probably saw this in the intro. So this is a plain design. And again, physics are a bit iffy on these, but they do work quite well. And you still need to balance them out when you're building them. But if you just test it a few times in the practice mode, you can get something pretty good that works quite well, and it doesn't really take that long. So we'll just put some thrusters down, and thrusters they can be blocked by other blocks here. It doesn't really make a difference. So let's put some guns on this as well. I use quite a lot of interchangeable parts just when I'm building these, just so that I don't waste extra resources. So when I switch vehicle, I take all the parts that I'm going to use on the other vehicle, and I put it on so that I don't have to have like 17 of the same gun just on different vehicles. So let's test this plane out in the battle. And this is already a tier 2. Now, the robot tiers are just counted by what kind of blocks you have. If you use lots of level 2 blocks, after a while you'll get up to robot tier 2. And if you play in tier 2 matches, as a tier 2 robot, you'll get tier 2 tech points, which allow you to unlock objects in the tech tree which require tier 2 tech points. So it can be quite complicated, and it is a bit annoying in how it works, but it's quite a good system, and it works in the way that they need it, because mixing this sort of creativity ability in a sort of World of Tanks arena design is quite difficult, and it's good that they managed to achieve that. Anyway, so in this plane we obviously just fall right to the ground, but if we use the thrusters and pull up a bit, we're in the air, and here we don't have any limitations to height, so we could fly as high as we want. So this gun that I'm using is not like the other SMG. It's a plasma gun, and it fires heavy bullets down onto the ground. So this is sort of more like a bomber plane, and we can test out some bombing runs on this guy right there. Okay, so we're already being shot at. Let's see if we can get at least one bomb off. Oh, that didn't go well, but we hit him quite well actually. Although we are now stuck. Oh dear, we're going to die very quickly this way. And we're dead. So that went well. It didn't go well. Yeah, so you can die very quickly if you don't have the right parts and you don't build your ship correctly. So I'm going to cut here, and I'm going to build a ship, and I'll show you what it looks like later. Okay, so here we go, the finished design. I've designed this sort of hovercraft again. Now, unlike common sense would tell you, you don't actually need to have an open space underneath these hover blades. So I've armoured them slightly by putting a armoured bottom on them, although the top is open just to save on CPU. And as you can see in the top left hand corner, I have actually filled up my CPU bar, so I can't build anything else on this. It's not going to let me. But I never tried this design before. I don't know how it's going to go. It should be pretty stable. I think it will be. And we're also using the plasma guns on this setup as well, just to test them out. So, should we try it? Let's battle. So I've used a slightly heavier type of armor on this. It weighs a tiny bit more, but it's a lot more armored. 3 times as armored as the previous white light blocks were. So it seems quite mobile. We're turning quite well. It's got quite a lot of stability. And with these thrusters on the back, we also should have a fair amount of speed. And that little radar there is hopefully going to mark out enemy units for us. Anyway, oh, it is a bit twisty. Let's see if we can find some enemies to shoot at. So, now that, there we go. Okay, yeah, we're being shot. Let's try and not be killed very quickly. Oh dear. There we go. There's someone. Let's just turn around and blow them to pieces. Now that was a good shot. That was a good shot. So we are... There's our next target. Okay, and... Fire! It seems all our guns weren't facing the right direction. And we are upside down. Well, great. So, this can happen with Hovercraft. It's a bit annoying. I've tried to lower the center of mass, but it just likes to be upside down. No idea why. Right, so let's see. So there's multiple ways of winning games, but either killing all the enemies or taking the base. So let's see if we can kill this enemy unit. So these plasma guns have a... Oh, he's just exploded. These plasma guns have very long reload time, and that's probably their biggest drawback. But, oh, there we go. And we've backflipped into the canyon. So, yeah, we're still upside down. So, you get points in this game by killing people, and that's also the easiest way of earning currency. Our team is doing rather well. If you look at the bars on the sides, we have the most players by far. They've only got 2, and here's one of them. Let's see if we can take him out. Oh, what a shot! What a win! And there we go. We've won our first battle, finally. Took a long time, and now with all this earned, we can repair our bots, which you have to do at the end of every battle, and see it out in a new battle. But I think this has been all for this little Let's Play look at Robocraft, and you can pick it up for free in early access on Steam right now. It's a really good game. I could recommend it. If you like Minecraft, or if you like World of Tanks, or if you just like being creative, then this is a good game for you. So, I'll see you guys in the next one.